Hello, my name is Kim Knights. I work at Suffolk County Council and I am the Head of Business Management working in adult social care. We are recording a series of short films where I will be chatting with people who also work in adult social care in Suffolk as part of our iCare campaign. I will be asking them about their career, the support that they have had from the council and why they chose the career they did, and what they enjoy about their job and the work that they do. I really hope that through these films you will learn a little bit about the wide range of roles available. I also hope that you will find inspiration in these films to consider whether a career in care would be right for you. For more information about working in adult social care here in Suffolk, please visit our website www.careers.suffolk.gov.uk/services and click on adult social care. Hello Sandy, welcome.
Hello, Kim.
Would you like to tell everyone what your name is and what your role is here in Suffolk County Council?
Yeah, so my name's Sandi Coleman and I am the Senior Vision Rehabilitation Worker for Sense and Change.
Tell me a bit about what that means.
So we work with people who have sight and hearing loss across the whole of Suffolk, obviously, and we provide services through Sense and Change. We've got different teams, so we've got a social work and assessment team, we've got a technical officer team, we've got a support service, and then we've got the rehabilitation team, which is the team that I'm the senior of.
Yeah.
So my role is working with my team of rehab workers and vision independence practitioners around increasing and maximising independence for people with sight loss in the community. So we'd go out and we'd do an assessment, identify needs, and then we would work with the customer to create a rehabilitation plan which covers anything when you think about your daily living from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, with the aim to reteach them skills or tweak the skills they've already got to help them to be as independent as possible.
So when you say about that rehabilitation piece, you don't just mean to do with their vision, you mean for anything that's helping them to live independently?
Yeah, the main reason we're involved is around their sight loss, and that is kind of what we're there to do. But obviously that might be helping them get back into work or helping them get out and about in the community again and providing that emotional support as well, because if you can imagine when somebody loses their vision, it's a massive impact for them, whether it's a sudden sight loss or whether it's something that's been going on for some time. So we work with them to build and develop a relationship to then get in there and do the rehabilitation. And the aim is that when we leave them, they're able to do much more things for themselves independently, so it releases pressure on ongoing services or the carer who potentially was the wife but has now got the carer hat.
Of course.
So yeah, it can be quite life transforming for them.
And how did you get into that kind of work?
I was doing teaching assistant with 2 young children as a single mum, and I was also studying for a psychology degree, but I wanted to do something a bit different. I didn't really know what, but I knew something different. And then I saw an advert for a sensory support worker. So I applied for that and got that. And then as I was working through the team, because that was when I first came into the team, we were the sensory team then, that was before we became Sense and Change. And my manager at the time saw potential in me and told me about the Vision Rehabilitation Assistant role that was coming up and encouraged me to go for that. So I had a look at it, and it was a big decision at the time because I was studying for my psychology degree and I would have to stop that. Because I'd have to go to university and do the rehabilitation assistant course. But I decided that it was worth the gamble, and I knew I could keep my credits for 15 years, I think it is, at the time.
So you stopped doing the
Stopped doing the degree and applied for the, well, once I'd been agreed that I could take the role on as rehabilitation assistant, and then I started work in the January, and then I started the course at Birmingham University in May. That was a year-long course, became qualified for rehabilitation assistant, and then I think a year or 2 later I was given the opportunity to become a fully qualified vision rehabilitation worker, which meant going back to Birmingham University again and studying for that. It was through Provision Solutions. And then become a fully qualified rehabilitation worker in 2014.
So as part of that training, what sort of things did you learn?
Oh, everything. You have to learn In the rehabilitation assistant course training, you're learning more about sort of daily living skills and the emotional support and the impacts of sight loss, and kind of putting the practice into theory and understanding how people function with different kinds of vision. And then when you go on to do the rehabilitation worker, it's more around orientation and mobility and sort of lighting assessments and the risk side of things.
And you've got a qualification at the end of it?
You have, yeah.
So it's a qualified post?
Yes, yeah, they're both qualified posts, yeah. And then I went on to become the senior Vision Rehabilitation Worker in 2020, 2 weeks before lockdown.
Goodness me.
Yes, but I had amazing support from my manager and my mentor and my team, who were really supportive of me, because sometimes that can be different climbing through the ranks, but I was really lucky. And then 2 weeks before lockdown, become senior, and then I went on to do the apprenticeship leadership management course as well, again through Suffolk County Council.
That's
and
fantastic.
Passed that a month or two ago with 3 distinctions.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you
That's
very much.
really
It's hard
positive,
work.
isn't it?
It is, yes.
That's a lot of training and lots of development for you, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's all through working for Suffolk County Council, realistically.
That's amazing. And when did you start in Suffolk County Council?
Well, I was thinking about this before I agreed to do this. I actually started in Suffolk County Council when I was, I think 17 or 18 was when I first started work I left school and I went on to do a YTS scheme.
I remember those.
MVQ2 in care. And then I got a job at a care home in where I live in Lowestoft, which was Suffolk County Council run. So I worked there, and then I sort of did different jobs with care. And then I went on to have children, and then I went back to education. And then I went back into Suffolk County Council as teaching assistant. So I've kind of dipped in and out over the years without really realising it.
What kind of place is it to work then for Suffolk County Council? What do you think?
I think it's a really good place to work. You've got a lot of support, you've got a lot of opportunities, and you've also not only got the support to progress, but you've kind of got the support to build and develop in the avenues you're interested in. If you show that you're keen and people see that there's a potential for you, then they'll encourage you to grow and build. And doing the degree within OU, obviously that was something that I was needing to fund while being a single mum, while working. It was a bit. So then when you come into Suffolk County Council, that those training opportunities are there, which I think is very, very lucky and shouldn't ever be took for granted, really.
Yeah, no, that's great. So when you were a young girl, did you have any dreams or aspirations of what you wanted to be when you grew up? No, if I'm brutally honest, I didn't. I had a different childhood. I didn't come out of school with any educations apart from a B in drama. Yeah. That's important.
Very important.
It got you ready for today.
It did, yeah. It wasn't until I think I sort of fell into the YTS scheme, which again I was really grateful for at the time because I was a bit lost. I didn't really know what direction, so I was quite lucky to be sort of picked up and given that opportunity. And it wasn't until I started going back into education when my children were very small that I knew the kind of things I was interested in, but wasn't absolutely sure what avenue I was going to take. I mean, my role, a Vision Rehabilitation Worker, I didn't even know what it was. No idea what it was. Didn't know it was a qualified post or anything. So it was more the interest in psychology and supporting people that sort of just naturally led me into different things.
So you've always wanted to do that supporting and maybe a bit of nurturing?
I think I've always been a bit around that enabling and helping people to be the best that they can be,
Bringing in the re-ablement,
Yeah, definitely.
That's great.
Yeah.
So if you could describe the average day in your role now, what would it look like?
For me, it can vary. I do casework, so with agreement from my manager, which I'm really pleased about, I'm able to go out and make sure that I'm still touching base with the frontline workers. I think that's important. So I managed a small caseload, so I could be doing orientation mobility training, daily living skills, providing emotional support. Then I also manage the rehab team and provide supervision, one-to-ones, ad hoc, formal, informal. I complete peer group meetings, and I'm obviously supportive of my management and the senior management team within Sense and Change. So it varies. It's always changing, which is good if you're a person like me. It's never the same, and when you work with people, it is never the same.
No,
because you never know what you're going to get.
No, absolutely. And you were saying earlier that you'd just done your apprenticeship in management and leadership.
Yes.
Does that help you? So a lot of those
brilliant.
things you were saying was that you're dealing with staff and supervision and that kind of thing. So has that helped you along the way?
Yes, it has been amazing. The organisation Blue Skies that I did the apprenticeship with were fantastic. And then again, I've had amazing support from my manager and my mentor, because there's been a lot of times when it's felt very overwhelming, and you've got those people to kind of hold you up when you're questioning yourself and you're a bit not too sure, because you're working while doing the course, but you get study time, which again should never be kind of took for granted, because it's very lucky to be given that study time, and you're really encouraged by Blue Skies and by your manager to make sure you take the study time, which is essential. So
the apprenticeship schemes here are great, aren't they?
Absolutely brilliant.
For
Yeah,
those already working
they
in post.
really, really are good, and I've heard nothing but good news and positive things about them. So
So if somebody else was out there and they were thinking about getting into either working within Sensing Change as an overall service, or particularly to learn and go through the same route you've gone, what would you say to them?
Ask the questions, be motivated, be determined, and be open to anything that comes your way. The opportunities that are given to you, grab them, because within Suffolk County Council there's loads of training available for you. You've just got to have a look and you'll find it, and everybody is so supportive of just helping you to get on your way. And if you're interested in supporting people, then very biased, but definitely the profession that I do is just amazing. It's so rewarding, and it's so different. Every single day is so different.
Tell me why it feels rewarding to you.
Because you're working, I mean, I work with 18 up, and you never know what is going to happen when you go into someone's home. And you could go in and you could be working with an 18-year-old who has been diagnosed with a brain tumour and unfortunately hasn't got long to live, but you can help her be independent in her college environment, teaching her cane skills. So although her time's limited, she's still going to have an amazing time left to be able to do things on her own. And you can work with a gentleman who has lost his job, lost everything, his whole identity, and he's on the floor when you go in, but when you leave him, he's travelling to Scotland to see his family.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and then you've got the older people, the older lady, for example, who might have had a stroke, and she was always the one who would be making the drinks, making the cakes in the family, but the husbands took that caring role, the relationships changed. You go in, by the time you've finished, he's happy to leave her to go to the allotment and she can make his cup of tea. So
they're great examples, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's life-changing for people, because you're desperate at those times in your life, and if you don't know what's out there, you don't know where to turn or who to talk to. So,
and do you think we say enough about this?
No.
You know, because I didn't know what you did, and I've worked Suffolk County Council a long time.
No, I shout at the telly quite a lot when everybody's talking about social care, and they just talk about carers, which is not, I'm not putting carers down, they're an amazing career, amazing job, and that's where I started. But social care is massive.
Of course, it's huge, isn't it?
There's so many professions within this organisation that people can get involved in and can see massive changes in people's lives. They go on about NHS, which again is really important and really essential. But if social care isn't running properly, then NHS can't run properly, because we need social care for NHS patients, for want of a better word, to come out and live in the community safely and effectively.
And do you have social workers within Sensing Change as well?
Yeah.
What other roles have you got in?
So we've got social workers. A part of the social work and assessment team, we've got qualified social workers who also British Sign Language trained.
Yeah.
We've got technical officers who work predominantly with people with hearing loss.
Right.
So they'll go out and assess for different equipment that's available to help people be more independent with their hearing, obviously. We've got the support service who go out and they do work in the community with people, all kinds of things to help them within lines with their sight or their hearing loss. And then we've also got obviously the rehabilitation team. We've got the Vision Independence Practitioners, which is a role that I kind of created and was part of my project within my apprenticeship scheme, because you could see there was a gap in the services that we provided. We needed something that would help sort of with the waiting lists and with getting services in for people who have a level of a qualification to be able to do the low-level rehab, freeing up the qualified rehab to do the more high-risk things. So there's quite a few different... And then obviously we've got our head of service.
So that's so many different roles.
It is.
So if somebody was thinking about, you know, maybe wanted to be part of Sensing Change, or if somebody was out there that maybe needed some help from Sensing Change, what would the best way for them to get in touch be? We've
got a website. You can also get in touch with us through the portal.
Yeah.
And you can also contact Customer First, and you can also contact our head office directly. So there's loads of different ways, or just put it in Google, sense of change, and it will come up.
And it tells you about all of the different services that, that your service does.
Yeah, because we're under Suffolk County Council as well, aren't we? So it should all come up on the Suffolk County Council site as well, I would hope.
So what next for you? Building
And developing on the skills I've learned at the moment. That's kind of where I am at the moment, because I learned so much through the apprenticeship. And it's quite nice to see the VIPs working within the team, and to see how the rehab team's working, and just getting the confidence in the skills I've developed through the apprenticeship.
And is there anything else that you would have liked to have said about sensing change that we haven't asked you today?
That it's a lot better that we're based in corporate buildings now, so that we're among our ASC colleagues, and our faces are getting seen and recognised, and so no, we're just a great team, I think.
I agree with you. Thank you very much.